back to the Sports Show. Time to have a look at the SANFL. It is about to crank up, Ando.
Finally, it's starting. Finally, what, 9-10 months it's been? You know, it's a long time.
It has been.
It's big pre-season.
Yep. Broken pre-season.
A big bowl of nothing. And now we're a few days away.
It. Of course.
Fantastic.
Let's find out how it's going to play out this weekend. The coach of the Norwood Footy Club, Jarrod, joins us. Cots, how are you?
Good. You guys?
Very excited, mate. Now, 5,000 people in this weekend. Of course, 25,000 next weekend. The preparation, Ando touched on. I mean, you've started your pre-season, then it looked like the season was not going to happen. Now we're back to playing this weekend. How busted has it been?
Yeah, it was frustrating early on. Obviously, you do a full pre-season. The players put a lot of work into it, and sort of get taken away after one trial game was disappointing. And I felt for the players in that regard. But you know, the SANFL has been great in regards to making sure that they've always left the door ajar to try and play, and same with all the clubs as well. So the effort to get us back where we are right now has been fantastic from everyone involved. And we're just really excited that we get the opportunity to play, especially at Adelaide Oval, for the first 2 games.
Fantastic. And what about the preparation for you, though? I mean, how hard has it been for you to have all those, probably not the knowledge to know when the season's going to start? Yeah. You've got new recruits. So they've got to settle into Adelaide. They've, obviously, they've been contracts and non-contracts, and it's been a pretty tough time for you personally. Yeah,
without doubt, not just me. It's probably the whole club. Assistant coaches, volunteers, everyone's been up in the air and sort of just. It's been a moving target. So it gets to go sort of a couple of weeks. We're heading in the right direction, and then it sort of goes off a different path again. And then when we did get to train, it was groups of 10, and then trying to balance that out with your group and make that work effectively and get what you want out of it, and gradually get into groups of 20, and then you can have contact, then you can't. So there's been a lot of variables to try and adjust, but from a coaching point of view, it's been challenging, but it's been good as well, to sort of see how well you can think and adjust and adapt. But yeah, it's definitely a unique situation that we're in. It's going to be interesting to see how it pans out on game day.
Hey, Cots, for you as a coach, what do you reckon's been the biggest hurdle for you so far this season with moving ground all the time?
In regards to the training? Or
yourself. Well, just yourself in your preparation, because you say normally you go, we'll have our pre-season, we'll have our practice games, and then we're into the season.
Yep.
Suddenly pre-season's going, then it's not. Then we're on, then it's not. Then we're on, then it's not. Then we've got groups of 10. So you've had to modify a lot of your training programs to get to this point.
Yeah, and we tried to. The hardest part was probably staying connected to the group. Obviously, everyone's been using Zoom, as everyone around the world has been, but we've had a lot of those type meetings just to make sure that we're keeping in contact with the players. Then trying to get them to actually work with a program to keep themselves fit in case we do get to play, which is a hard thing for anyone to do when you're not sure that you're going to play or not. So that was hard to manage. And then getting them back together was just trying to get the organisation in regards to when you train, when not to train. Like we had to have groups from 3 o'clock through to 7 o'clock just broken up on the oval. So that's all time consuming and hard to manage, but I was really proud of the players. They didn't complain, they got it done, and they got to the point now where I think we're in pretty good shape to start the season. What
about the preparation? When you look at a normal season and you get together probably late November, you work pretty hard at Christmas, have a break. Once you finish that break, it's full steam ahead. A lot of practice matches, and then you get into your first game, and you've dotted every I and crossed every T. This time you've already probably really been together as a group for a few weeks. Probably played just maybe 1 or 2 trials, and preparation for your players to play a game like footy. It's a preparation spot on.
Yeah, it's an unknown. And it's the same for everyone. Yeah. So everyone's in the same boat.
Body hard, and that's what I mean. Are they body hard to play a physical game of football?
That's what we'll find out. Yeah. So we haven't had the luxury of playing any trial games against anyone else. So we just had an internal on Friday night, which I think most clubs were allowed to do. Yeah. But yeah, apart from that, we haven't really had that match hardness. So you have your 2 to 3 trial games leading in. We had a really good pre-season. I was really happy with what we did. We worked really hard, and then to get that period where it gets sort of taken away from you. We've only had really 3 weeks worth of training as a real group, and only 1 internal game to get ready for the weekend. But it's the same for everyone, so it's not like we're the only club. So it's going to be, obviously, I think, a bit of fatigue coming into the first couple of games, I would have thought, but it's just a matter of managing that the best you can with your rotations and who you pick for for your team. So obviously you want to have blokes that are in reasonable nick going out on the weekend as well.
Is that going to be part of your the coaching on I think it's Sunday?
Yep.
That you will look at a lot more rotations. I mean, is there a new style of coaching that you have to implement because of the situation over the last few months?
Yeah, I think so, a little bit. I mean, we only have 75 rotations, but we have an extra player this year on the bench, so we do have the 4, which gives you a little bit more movement. But it's, we've got training tonight and we'll have selection tonight as well. So that does come into the equation. Playing Adelaide Oval, which is a bigger ground, limited preparation. We sort of need players that are ready to go as to the, injury-wise and things like that. So all those things come into calculations tonight when we select the team.
So let's talk about Sunday's game. You're up against Glenelg, first last year. You guys 4th. You've had a fairly good senior group move out. Joe Spode and a couple of the other senior players.
Yep.
We talk about you lose that senior group, sometimes it's hard to replace that knowledge. Comfortable with what's come in on the other side?
Yeah, I think so. Obviously losing Brady Dorr, Jay Spode, Ed Smart, Alex Giorgio, all premiership players.
Yeah, wow, that's
double
fair.
and
It's a fair list.
So it's a fair bit of experience and premiership experience at the same time. So we're bringing Richard Douglas into the group, who's obviously a very experienced football player and a great talent, and he's been excellent so far. Ryan Bastonet comes in, he's played a lot of football as well, AFL level. So we have brought in some experienced players from that point of view. Tom Pinion, who's played a lot of country footy, he's a really good player. Cody Ellison, who's played some league footy at South Aid. Emmanuel Erie, who's played AFL. So we did bring in some players that have had league experience or AFL experience. So we did lose a lot, but we've probably brought in a few to try and compensate for that a little bit as well.
Must be exciting getting Richard Douglas. I mean, what a champion bloke, but just his experience, that he brings to your side. You must be a big plus.
Yeah, without doubt. He's been excellent since he first arrived the first day. His experience, not just at training, but also off the field. He's a great communicator with the younger players. The way he gets around, even to staff and volunteers, he just brings another level to our group. And also for me, just to bounce ideas off of, and you learn from everyone. But when someone's played 260 AFL games and some big ones at that, then you want to try and draw from that as well.
Ryan Baston, actually, interesting one. I mean, he comes over to play, then the corona hits, and it looks like there's going to be no season. So he's back to Queensland with his partner. How's he placed to come back and play? Yeah, because the borders have just started to drop. So.
Yeah, it was an interesting one. Until the borders sort of came down, he wasn't going to come back to play because he couldn't. You obviously have to isolate for the 2-week period. But since they came down last week, I kept in touch with Ryan over the break anyway, because if it wasn't going to work out this year, then obviously you plan for the following season as well. But he committed, he wanted to play at the club anyway. Then, like you said, it hit, but he's always wanted to come back and play if we could manage it. And with the border restrictions dropping, then it's an opportunity for us. He comes back this week, train, and then go from there. But it's a massive win to be able to get him back.
The start of the AFL season. The start of the AFL season has been really unusual. Teams beating teams, and teams that we thought were going to win are losing, and some of the margins are blowout. So, does it look on the surface? I know you watch that pretty closely, so you try and compare to what you're going to come up against the next couple of weeks in the SANFL. It's going to be a bit more the mental side of the game, perhaps more than the physical side?
Yeah, I think it's a bit of everything, to be honest. So the thing that you don't know with the AFL clubs, obviously going to stay in hubs, what effect that has, being away from family, all those sort of variables. We don't have that, obviously, so we get to stay here. Playing at Adelaide Oval, it's different again. You don't normally play there until final, so that's another variable. But I think, physically and mentally it's going to be challenging for every club because limited preparation, you just don't really know how they're going to react to it. And like you said, when we haven't had those trial games to really compete against other teams, they're all experienced players. They know what it's going to look like. But to actually get out there and sustain it for 4 quarters, it's going to be a real challenge for everyone.
And what about some of the new names that we're going to hear this year in order such a strong club, and juniors especially, So we've got some talent coming through the ranks.
Yeah, definitely. Our reserves won the grand final last year, so we've got some talented kids coming through. And Nick Pedro's really had a great pre-season, and then we've got Luke Sermon's really had a great training block since we've been back. So he's another one that one of the best on the ground in the reserves grand final last year as a ruckman. So excited about what he can bring to the group as well. So and then we've got a lot of layers underneath that. Yeah. So it's a good position.
Anyone to watch?
I think Nick Pedro's definitely one. Cam Ball, Josh Richards. You don't want to single anyone out, but they're all exciting talents for our football club. And they've now started to have 5 to 10 league games, and now it's a chance for them to make the next step. And I think we're going to need to really use the whole of our squad this year, just because it's a shortened preparation and a shortened season. So, but I'm really confident with the group that we've got.
Cots, appreciate you coming in, mate. This Saturday, Sunday, big weekend for footy. The SANFL Sunday going to be a great game between Norwood and the Bays. Stay with us. Still plenty to come on the show.